Money work. El mundo quiere dinero. Yeah. Lunes. 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 Money work. El mundo quiere dinero.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Walking His Ways Impact Force Podcast. I'm your host, Furman Jackson Jr. I'm the CEO and founder of Walking His Ways Impact Force Podcast. We are broadcasting once again from the DFW. That is Dallas, Fort Worth, Texas, as always. And I'm very excited to be back here with my brother from another mother. Laquan, what's up, D? How you been doing, brother?
All right, man. I'm mad I couldn't be on the show last night. It was, a little under the weather. But I'm happy to be on today, catching up, and back in business.
And that's what's up right there. Can y'all hear me loud and clear?
Yes.
Okay. I want y'all thought here from static somewhere. That's what I was saying. But long y'all can hear me crystal clear, that's the most important thing. And I'm very excited. We're actually international once again, Daquan, with our featured guest tonight here on the podcast. I want him to go ahead and introduce himself. I don't want to butcher nobody's name because that's so embarrassing. Okay, it's very unique, and I'm very excited that we're here with us. He's a hip hop artist out of Canada, putting in work, grinding. That's what it's all about, grinding, utilizing your gifts and your talents and your potential to make the life that you want. So I want our guest to go ahead and introduce himself. Go ahead, my brother.
Word, appreciate you. Thank you. I go by Imperative. That's IM_PERETIV. I'm up in Canada. Right now I'm in London, Ontario. I kind of live in the realm of grimy boom bap, sort of in that Renaissance boom bap sort of vibe. But, I kind of make it all, do it all. I've been doing this for 10 plus years now. But this is what I love doing. So I love talking about it.
And that's what's up right there. And we appreciate you once again. And big shout out to Gavin White. He said, "What up, homie?" Canada represented. So that was up. So AD, we international once again, man. We represent Canada tonight, man. The Maple Leaf.
That's the homie. This is hip hop. Gavin, he goes by. He's a hip hop producer as well. So that's the homie. We got a great community of people up here that support each other. So you can find him on Instagram, THISHIPHOPP. So we on here. I'm up here with you, but I'm down to represent the homies and show love and give flowers to everyone. So yeah, we got a great community up here in Canada.
And that's what's up. You know what, brother? I'm giving you your cigar. I'm giving you your cigar because you put it in the word. Even though we connected on social media, we've been going back and forth, and I just give you a cigar right now because you put in the word non-stop action, and we respect that. That's what we hear on the podcast. We love showcasing people that do extraordinary things, making a life for themselves, making an impact. Not just that, but they want to uplift and elevate everybody that's around them. And I know you got a great gang of people around you. We know that Drake is from Canada. The Weekend is from Canada, and it's a lot of people representing Canada. That's what we're gonna start at. Let's talk about the hip hop scene in Canada.
So yeah, the hip hop scene in Canada is really interesting, and I've had the opportunity to kind of be in two different scenes. So I started music out in Vancouver, BC, so on the west coast there. I spent about 10 years doing music there in my time living there, and then now I'm back in Ontario, and I'm being able to be involved in the Toronto scene here. So too much like anywhere, right? Dating back to hip hop's birth, East Coast and West Coast, you have two very different sounds and scenes and cultures. I mean, not completely different, but there's differences there. Right now, I'm really heavily involved in the Toronto and Ontario scene. It's interesting because there's that saying about you won't make it where you're from until you leave, right? So there's that whole saying. But I mean, and that's why Drake went to Atlanta, I believe, right? Drake went down to Atlanta, and that it wasn't until then that he linked up with T.I. that he was able to make it. So I started seeing, I guess, more success. Whether it has to do with me being in Ontario or just the time and the mind frame, I think they coincide each other there. But I do see, like, especially in the realm that, like, the subculture of hip hop that I sort of work in, a lot of the artists, like, I know I can speak for myself, and I can probably say it's the same for like other artists in Toronto too. So I just want to listen to Ason Eastwood, Falcon Outlaw, Daniel Sun. Those are a few of those in the same realm. But I guarantee you, if you looked at any of our stats, it's like we get way more love from the States. We get way more love from Europe and Germany. So Toronto or Canada it's really interesting. I mean, it doesn't have much of an urban culture, and I think Toronto has a bit more. And I was watching, there was a documentary about Vince Carter, and it talks about how Vince Carter's impact on the Raptors in Toronto directly influenced the music and the scenes around it in Toronto as well, which is kind of interesting. Vancouver, they had the Grizzlies for a second, but they never had that superstar like Vince Carter or that, and then the Grizzlies ultimately went away. So I know that from being in Vancouver, it's a melting pot, right? You got a lot of universities there. You got a lot of people that come from Australia, a lot of people that come from the States. They go there, they're there for a short period of time. They don't really tap in, like they're just there for what they're, and then they leave. So it's kind of a tough scene. Toronto scene's a little bit better. People are like, there, like the people that are there, they're staying there kind of thing. It's not as much of a, revolving door melting pot, but I mean, it's Canada. What can I say? Home and native land. That's it's where I'm from. I love it. I love being Canadian. I'm proud to be Canadian. It's just an interesting scene, but I mean, I think that the same can be said for anywhere, really.
Yeah, and that's what's up. And I know that music is popular. Music always been popular, and we know that a lot of artists, do sell overseas, especially here in the States. It's like they get a lot of love overseas compared to the States, and they just love music. And how did you get your start in hip hop music?
So my start kind of came. I was a competitive snowboarder before this, and so I was doing my snowboard. That's why I went to Vancouver. They got mountains there. We don't have mountains in Ontario. I went out there, and I was filming for a video part. and I hit a jump and I landed and I put my knee in my face and I shattered this whole bone. So there's a metal plate in there. I'm like a real life Kano. But yeah, there's a metal plate in there, and that just it kind of changed things. Didn't have the confidence anymore to do that stuff. And right around the same time, my brother moved out to Vancouver, and he was going to an audio engineering school, and he was learning that stuff, and he was doing some hip hop stuff. And I was like, I need that creative outlet. That's what snowboarding was for me. And then I think it was just everything at the same time. It was like what I was listening to at that time, which was like guys like Currency, MickeyFactz, Smoke Dizza, and then hearing that stuff, and then watching with my brother. I was like, I love music, and this is what I want to do. And start watching videos of guys taking old records, right, and chopping it up. And I was like, it's a beautiful art form. I've always been an artist. So outside of this, I have a diploma in multimedia design, so I do graphic design and video stuff. But I always loved collage work and artwork, and sampling is essentially just audio collages. So,
man, that's what's up. And I know being in music, that's something you always into growing up as a child. Always had that music. I always had an ear for music because I know a lot of producers. Like I grew up on certain style of music or like all genres of music. So how did it work for you?
It was kind of all genres. Like I grew up in like very suburb parts of Ontario, like very small cities. We didn't have access to much music. Ironically, I was born in Toronto, Greater Toronto area. So I was born in Scarborough, moved to Richmond Hill. That's just outside the heart of Toronto. But I was way too young. I was listening to like Wheels on the Bus at that time. And then we lived in like small country towns, so there wasn't much access to music. But I do remember one of my first cassettes was Salt and Pepper, so I did have like a very early introduction to hip hop. But Salt and Pepper. But then from there, I just listened to everything, and then it wasn't really until like my late elementary school years and high school years, like through skateboarding and snowboarding, that those like videos for skateboarding and snowboarding really introduced me to more hip hop in that. And I remember like there's a couple two major songs that I can remember that just had my head turned, which was The Fallback by Big L and then Triumph by Wu-Tang. I remember those two songs at different points. Those two songs were just like, what is this sound? You know what I mean? It's just something about it just like really triggered something.
Man, that's what's up. I know the Quan, he want to ask you some questions. He's really from New York, and we know that hip hop started in New York, so I know he got some questions for you. Go ahead, Quan.
It's funny you actually answered my question because I was gonna ask like, who was the artist that kind of make you go, you know what? Yeah, I want to do this. So you already answered that, but I did want to ask like
that's Big L, man, and it was his posthumous album, right? But Big L is definitely that like when after I heard The Fallback and then I went and downloaded the rest of the Big Picture, and this was the era like I was like pirated that shit off Napster, like just pirated it. And my buddy had a CD stamper thing, so I like printed off the label and like made my own bootleg CD, and yeah, it was Big L, but.
See, a lot of people don't know about Big L. A lot of people don't know. But I wanted to ask, like, you know how like they say New York music got a gritty scene. LA music is kind of, got the gritty, but you think of palm trees, sunny days, nice weather. Like, what do you feel is the sound for Canada, or what is the sound like?
I mean, the sound for Canada is always going to be a little bit of. It's going to be a little bit of tale of what the States is. Like, I don't know, like Drake in a way kind of made his own Canada sound. But I mean, as Canadians, I mean, New York, there's always going to be remnants of New York in everything kind of thing, right? There's always going to be that. And Canada, I think, is just like kids like me and kids that were even before me, they start hearing that sound. And so like, we're just picking up those pieces and we're trying to do what we can with it. Canada's sound, I think it still depends on where you're at. You go out to the West Coast, it's same as the West Coast there. Sure, they got mountains and stuff like that, but the weather's a little bit different there. There's a coastal, more of a chill vibe, right? Like, you always hear about BC buds, so you get that vibe. Toronto, if you go to Toronto Toronto is like it's a little bit grimier, it's a little grittier, like New York, right? So you get a little bit more like that. And then if you go all the way to the East Coast, like one of Canada's, probably one of the biggest artists we've had, Classified. It's like a chill vibe as well, similar to the West Coast but different. It's a little bit more upbeat, I guess, like a little bit more positive sounding, whereas like the West Coast is more like laid back, chill, and then the centralized, you got that like griminess in the middle there.
I wanted to ask too, like, do you feel like it's like less violence in the music? Like it's a little bit more, relatable to everybody in some sense?
In Canada?
Yeah.
In some parts for sure. The Toronto scene is just it's violent there in the different areas. I mean, I stay away from that. Like that's just not. But I mean, in Toronto, I think it's just because Toronto's one of the older cities in Canada, right? It was Upper Canada and Lower Canada. Not to get into like Canadian history here, but like Toronto's one of the older cities, and because of that, and it's one of the bigger cities. Because of that, you get the different areas, and that aren't we don't need to get into all of it, but you know what I mean, like the lower income areas and stuff like that, and those places are always going to breed more violence, right? And then you get the gang violence, the inner city stuff. But you go out to BC, there is still some, but it's not the same. It's a lot of people that BC is still kind of like, we're colonizing the West, right? It's like the old slogan, colonize the West, come on out here. And so a lot of people from BC are from Ontario, or from they're from everywhere else. So there's a lot of people just leaving. It's not to say that there isn't violence in the music. It's not as much from what I noticed in the BC. In Toronto, there is still some in the certain pockets.
Like I said, I know music is an art. We know that music, people express themselves through music. Let's talk about the battle rap. We know battle rap was big in New York, right? They're going to battle rap, battle rap with each other. Do y'all do that in Canada with the battle raps? Or do they still do battle rap? Is that still going on today, or they're not no more?
Battle rap is huge. I mean, there's KOTD, which is one of the largest, I think, battle rap. And I'll be straight up honest. I mean, I respect battle rap. It's not like I'm not tuning into battle rap myself. I prefer the music aspect, the songs. There's some very dope bars, and I really like lyricism and bars. So I've watched some battle raps and some matches, and there's definitely some dope bars that come out of that, and very talented lyricists. But I prefer the art of putting those rhymes over a song, constructing. You got your intro, your hook, your verse, and so on and so on. But yeah, no disrespect to battle rap, because I mean, one of the artists I work with closely, Shayna Ashley, she's one of the top female battle rappers. She's from New York, and she kills it. She's crossed over from both making the music and being a battle rapper as well. So.
Okay, that's what's up. I mean, let's talk about that lyric. I mean, you got some rappers out there who spit straight lyrics. I know Ludacris is one of them. Eminem. Oh, I love Eminem. Eminem is one of them. There's quite a few. I love Jay-Z, of course. Jigga. I like Jay-Z. I grew up on Jay-Z. There's a lot of rappers out there who spit straight fire. Of course, you got Dr. Dre.
Yep.
Go all that other stuff. So that's kind of era I grew up in, with the Nas, the Jay-Z's, the Tupacs, the Biggies, LL Cool J, them guys. I don't really get into the new artists today. I stick to the old school stuff because I'm 40.
Yeah.
I'll be 41 this month. So I still stick.
Hey, I'm 38 this year, so I'm up there with you, man.
Yeah, so I still stick to that type of music, and I don't know too many new artists, but I know as you being a producer, I know you got to keep your ears to the streets. Who's the next big thing? So how do you operate with that?
I mean, it's yes and no. Like, I used to keep up with it a lot more. I definitely kept up with it a lot more. But I think and I mean, my own music taste, like, I've said, I fall within this sort of like grimy boom bap, which is more closer to the late 90s, early 2000s, right? That's where my sound. So I listen to that stuff to kind of see what's going on and that. But I mean, I have another playlist which is just like all rap and hip hop. Like I get down with guys like YFN Lucci and stuff like that. Like I'll throw on some of that other stuff. It just depends on the vibe or the moment. You can't be at a beach listening to this like grimy, like, I mean, you can be, but it's just not as, you know, the girls aren't like, yo, can you put on some Wu-Tang at the beach here? You know what I mean? Like, just sure, there might be a few, but it's just not like that. So sometimes you got to get the party anthems and the music like that. I really like Black, who's from Atlanta. Like Black is like, I love that, like his music. I just throw it all. Every time I fly, that's what I listen to is Black, and just on repeat. It chills me out for the flight. But I mean, Spotify and their release radar is a great tool, and their playlists and stuff like that for discovering new stuff. I think that you know, one of my big idols as a producer, Alchemist, guys like that, and then Griselda and the whole Griselda team, what they're doing has allowed producers like myself to have this opportunity just to create what I want to create, because it's still valid, it's still relevant. You know what I mean? When I was living in Vancouver, the sound I'm doing now is actually what I started making. But in Vancouver, like we talked about, East and West, they got different sounds, right? The beats that I was making when I first started, my first like 5 years, there was like, outside of the main artist I worked with, not a lot of people wanted to jump on my beats because like it wasn't that sound that was the West Coast sound. So, you know, I finally got tired of like, okay, rappers don't want to rap on my beats. So, and at the time, Instagram and things like that, they weren't as big as they are now. Like we've seen a huge change over the last 10 years, right? So I just got tired of people not really wanting to work on my sound. So I adjusted. I adjusted my sound and learned some new, like, I started being able to make some more trap beats and stuff like that. I have some in my catalog. If you ask me to make a trap beat right now, you know, I could whip something up for you. But now I'm able to really make what I want to make, which is this like sample based music and you know, either smooth or grimy or, you know, whatever, but it's just more that classic sound that I grew up on.
Yeah, I know it, and I know we around in the same genre, and I know this generation, the work ethic. You know, growing up, you know, it was all about work ethic. It was all about putting in the work. It was all about staying up. It was all about staying up late, less sleep. You would lay on people's couch because you were so determined to be the best at what you do, and we don't see much of that in our generation. It's just like, we know social media can't come before social. It wasn't no such thing as social media. All you had was radio, tape, CDs, and you just had to sling those out the trunk of your car. It wasn't no such thing as social media back then. Now social media came into place, so now it's more easier now for anybody to just upload music on Spotify, Apple, and stuff like that. But it's not now. It's like it's a handicap to them, if that makes sense, where they don't want to put in the work no more. They don't want to get out there, get in people's faces. You know, you just get on your computer and you just send stuff out. And they think that's it. But the groundwork still exists today. It's like in this generation, it's like they don't want to put in the groundwork. They don't want to be the foot soldiers no more.
I mean, it's 100% it, but that's where it's like the strong survive, right? Like. The people that realize that you got to put in that work, that's where you're going to get those ones that come through and slip through the cracks. And I mean, I fully get it and understand what you mean is, yes, we have all these tools that make things easier, and people just assume like, all right, I'm going to upload my song to SoundCloud and I'm going to be a star, right? It's not like that. And especially now, we're actually seeing, it's kind of like, social media started, and now that the algorithms are coming in, right? Like, so this is I hate the word algorithm, but we're going to talk about it. The algorithms didn't exist when Instagram and that started, or Spotify first started, but they're growing and they're evolving over time, and they're making it harder for people. Like even like I grind as hard as I can, and I put out as much content as I possibly can, and it still doesn't feel like enough. You know, I work. I work a full-time job. Now I'm blessed with the job I work at. I'm 8 to 4, Monday to Thursday. So that gives me my evening. So it's like the second I get home, I'm on the machine making beats. I'm listening to samples. You know, and then I have Friday, Saturday, Sunday to do that. That's still not a ton of time, but like you said, staying up late, making it happen, right? But yeah, a lot of people, I think, because of the ease of what they have available to them, they just think that that's all they have to do. you can have a list of thousands of people. And just for example, and this even happened today, and Gav, if he's still here, he's going to laugh at this. But like, a homie I added him because he's sounding dope. And all he does, he asked me back and he just sends me a YouTube link. No, like, yo, man, what's good? Thanks for following me. I checked out a song. I like this. Yo, check out this song. If he had done that, I might have checked it out. But you just want to be lazy because technology makes it so easy just for you to copy and paste your YouTube link, right? And for me, you probably saw this too, right? Like my promotion, the way I promoted, for this, podcast, right? Like I filmed myself being like, hey, what up? It's Imperative. Check me out. I'm going to be live. Why? Because like I've studied the algorithm and I related to a Nintendo system back with like Super Mario Brothers 1, right? You would sit up like days trying to make that one jump or you fall in the lava. But like it's the pattern against user. And if you don't learn to adjust against that pattern against user, like you can spam people links all you want, but no one's going to listen to it. And that's the lazy, and that's where the strong survive and the strong are going to come, rise above.
Yeah, because we've been talking about this lately on the podcast, and Court the Coin, he could testify to this. It's just like now people want the success, but they want to be comfortable at the same time. Big shout out to Corey Davis as well, him and his team. We were talking about this at his spot. I did a photo shoot again today, so I'm looking forward to the new picture dropping with that. But we were talking about this at the same time. It's like people want this success, but they're not willing to sacrifice. Back in the day, if you wanted to be the best, you had to let some things go. That temporary fun. It's like, okay, I can't hang out no more. I can't go eat this anymore. I can't just have it. I can't go partying because I'm building something. It's like it's no more urgency no more. Back in the day, you had urgency, especially if you grew up in the inner city and you grew up in the projects. You was in poverty. Your main objective was to get out the hood. Your main objective was to get out of poverty.
Yeah.
It was a why to get out of that. But now it's like, oh, it's just too much. When it's gonna take, and like I said, social media can be a gift and a curse. Social media, it can lie too. That they get so dang okay, like you said, mentioned earlier. I can send it to SoundCloud, and before you know it, I'm an overnight celebrity. But it's more than just sitting. You have to get into work. You got to get in people's faces. It's like it's just that mark that's like you can't be lazy with this thing. And like you said, some people they just put out anything and think, hey, like what I do. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I think I watched some guy talking about it, and it's like even if you spend 15 minutes a day, and I think that equals out to 1,000 hours in a year. If you work on something 15 minutes a day, even right, so like some people won't even put in that 15 minutes a day. But if you do that for an entire year, you will be better than 95% of the person in that segment. So if I'm working 15 minutes a day every single day for this full year, I'm better than 95% of the other producers and hip hop beat makers out there trying to do this. And when I say that, I'm not just where I'm at now. I think I put my time in my early years just making the beats. Like I was up till 3 a.m. listening to them. Now, it's all different things. It's like writing grants. It's my social media content. But it's every day. I can guarantee you I'm doing something, and it's likely more than 15 minutes on my side. But I'm trying to do something every single day. And to talk about what you were mentioning, like, giving up things, they might even be watching this right now because they are close. I have a group of close friends that are in Kabul right now. And I wish I was in Kabul right now. They're trying to call me, and they're like, they're drinking tequila, they're eating steaks, they're living good. But, my decision and my choice at the moment is to put my money and my time and my efforts into what I believe is going to pay off in the long run. And that's how much I believe in myself that I'm willing to sacrifice, going on trips with some of my closest friends to Kabul to try and live the dream and the life that I ultimately want to live, which is being creative every single day of my life and being able to eat off that.
And that's the mindset to have. And that it's gonna take hours, it's gonna take days, it's gonna take years. But if it's something that you're passionate about, you're gonna keep putting the work. And I think, and you being a producer yourself, and you take your craft seriously, I know you probably won't work with any. You don't probably want to work with any and everybody because some people don't take this as seriously like they're supposed to. It's like they can present you with a track and say, "Hey, I do this and I do that." You may tell him, "Hey, well, come meet me at the studio. Let's say at let's say 2 o'clock."
Mhm.
You say, "Well, come meet me at the studio at 2 o'clock." That person may think, "Oh, he gonna be talking about 2 o'clock in the afternoon." You could be saying, "Hey, I'm talking about 2 o'clock in the morning." If you're serious about this, you'll meet anytime. Instead of saying,
Yeah.
"Well, I thought you mean 2 o'clock p.m." No, I'm talking about 2 o'clock a.m. Because that's how
Yeah.
it's really how bad you want it. So,
But that's it. And doing what I do, I mean, when people do reach out to me, I do my homework, and if I think they're like one, there's talent and there's hard work, right? And
right,
there's the saying, hard work beats talent when talent doesn't want to work hard. And I'll look at people's social media. If they got 2 posts on there and they think that's popular, if they've only got like 100 months, now they might be willing to put in that work and maybe they just didn't know how. But like I know for myself, it's like I didn't understand social media like 5 years ago. I had to take the time but I was like, yo, how are these other artists and everyone popping? Like, how are they making this happen? There's a way. It's not magic. You know what I mean? They're not just like picked out, right, out of the crowd and being like, okay, he's going to be successful on social media. I had to learn that. I had to learn and understand Spotify algorithm and things like that. I had to learn how to write a press release. I had to learn, how to write a grant. Basically my mindset for any of this is if I can't do it or learn how to do it, then I'll pay someone to do it. But I'm going to try my damn hardest to figure out how to do it myself.
right. I totally agree with that 1,000%. On the coin, you have everything you want to ask.
Oh, no, you got a commercial. I ask after.
All right, then. Yeah, we're gonna jump into this quick commercial, and after that, we're gonna jump right back into our Q&A conversation, everybody.
Hi, my name is Daylyt Bordeaux, and I'm the founder of Speak Our Truth, a nonprofit for survivors of sexual assault. Join us April 8th, 2023 for I Survived from Trauma to Triumph. This time will be spent together sharing stories of triumph from survivors of sexual assault, domestic violence, divorce, and sickness. So grab your girls and make sure y'all purchase your tickets at www.speakourtruth.org. It's time for us to redefine the beauty that lies beneath our pain. See you there.
A once tight-knit family bond.
Damn it, Tito, didn't I tell you that I'm vacationing? I am retired, which means all our duties have been relinquished.
You still the same. Wake up fussing. I just come home for a little while. I ain't trying to stay in this roach motel.
I still can't figure out how you gonna do that. Honey, you see, when the Lord created me, he created a mighty great sunbeam made in his image. And plus, Yoshi always rolling her damn eyes. One day I got her good. I put a little bit of crazy on her eyelashes while she was asleep, and she couldn't roll her eyes for 3 days. And that's the time when her eyes was real puffy. I remember when I saw her, I was like, girl, you looking just like your mama with all them bags. I told you about playing with me.
It's broken. When the battle of addiction is lost, resurfacing childhood
You
trauma.
need to get some help. I need to get some help? Really? You're the one that loses friends when you put too much liquor in your body. Okay, and you're the one who ruined your marriage because you're so traumatized and traumatized me all my life.
And revealing family secrets.
I said before you broke it, I recently lost my best friend. My right hand, my mother.
Leaving one innocent soul demonized. You broke Ma's heart.
And I really lost my whole family. But most importantly, myself.
Crucified, the stage play, showing April 14th and 15th at the Slayton House in Columbia, Maryland.
Hey, what's up, everybody? We are back here on Walking This Way's Impact Force podcast. I'm your host, Furman Jackson Jr. I'm broadcasting live once again from the DFW. It is Wednesday night. It is April the 5th, 2023. Back in the house, back in the studio with the corn, along with guest as well. And we're very excited to have our guest tonight here on the show with us, Daquan. We're talking about work ethic. We're talking about hip hop. We're talking about the culture. How bad do you really want it? How bad you want to succeed in anything you do? And that's what it's all about. And let's jump right back into our conversation. So, Daquan, I know you had a quick one into the commercial, so go ahead.
Yeah, I definitely wanted to go back to a quick point when he said the gentleman kind of just sent the YouTube link, and I think if people understood a simple conversation on, hey, well, what can I do for you in return, and could go so much further. You know, you can change the heart of a person with the right conversation. You know, maybe you couldn't afford it that day, but if you were to talk to them and say, hey, I can't afford it, but you know what, if you have anything that maybe I can do some work for, because I'm a big fan of interns back in the 50s. You know, there wasn't none, nobody was getting paid. They gonna walk into an office, hey, this is my expertise, my skills, and I want to work for you. And I think people don't do that anymore. And the social media wave is really taking that away, I think. And you can still do the same kind of work. It's just, like you say, it's so easy to just, here, take my whole bio in one click. But if you can tell that story and talk to them, you can get a different effect.
That's it, 100%, man. You know, I attribute, you know, whatever you want to call success. Success is different than everyone. I'd like to say I have a level of success, and what I attribute that to is, you know, being able to communicate with people and actually network in a proper manner. You know what I mean? For me, first and foremost, I'm a fan of this music and this culture. I mean, you can sort of see behind me the amount of records there, right? You got Conway there. You can see Ghostface and Raekwon. I mean, you know, I got painting of Kanye up there. Like, I'm a fan of this shit. So a lot of the artists I work with, I'm a fan of them first, usually, right? And so for a few of them, you know, the way I like to work, and it's coming off like very robotic when I say it like this, but when I do it, it comes from a place of like of understanding it, but at the same time from a genuine place. Usually, you know, social media does make it easy, but it's like it makes it easy for me to connect with people that are across the world, like Buffalo, North Carolina, New York, New Jersey, because I mean, I'm up in Canada. But usually I'll be like, hey, yo, what's good, man? I just want to say I really love what you're doing. Simple thing. Now, if you analyze that, so I do sales. Like, I've accidentally done a lot of sales jobs, so I do have that background. So sometimes it just comes off naturally. But like, if you say that to someone, you're stroking their ego. Who is going to turn around and be like, yo, fuck off? You know, I hope I can swear. You know what I mean? But if you're like, yo, I really love what you're doing, who's just going to like ignore that? They're like, yo, thank you. You've created this like positive reaction, right? And then from there, you don't just jump in like, yo, fam, you want to work? Like, that's, you know, that's the cliche, yo, fam, you want to work? It's like, you let it build. You like their stuff, you comment on their stuff, and you build. And even for myself, you mentioned the intern aspect, right? So even for myself, there's been artists that I've done artwork for them. So I do, like I said, I do some graphic design to try and get my foot in the door. Because like, that's my whole thing, is like, I'm outside right now still trying to get in. So I'm going to kick down every single door I possibly can, and I'm going to do whatever it takes. So if an artist that I really like and want to work with has an opportunity to do a graphic for them, I'm going to do that graphic. And then they're like, yo, what do you want me to pay you? And it's like, nothing, man, we good. But in the future, maybe check out my beats. Maybe we can work on something. You know what I mean? And then it's like, oh, you know what I mean? And then from there, and like, I've done Obi strips for people. I've done some graphics for people. But overall, it's just being, if you just like, yo, you want to work, it just comes off like you seeing, because I mean, we can all see numbers on social media. Like, Instagram has followers. You can see engagement. You have an idea of someone's success. So if someone just comes in like, yo, fam, let's work, that comes off as You see how many followers I have. You see how much engagement I get. You see the numbers, and you just want to work with me because you see that.
Right.
It doesn't matter if that's their actual intent, but that's how it comes off. So just starting off with a compliment and going from there and building a natural relationship, like they may not even look at your, but maybe one day they're like, who's this guy who keeps dropping fire emojis on everything? And then they click on your page and then they listen to something like, oh, okay, this guy's actually dope, right? So I think that like anything, you just be a genuine human being, right? And learn how to network. But I mean, back in the day, you used to have to say, some people need to go to school to learn how to talk on a phone. Some people are just going to get it and some people aren't, right? Like some people just be like, okay, see you later. And they're like already hung up. It's like, no, etiquette, you're supposed to say goodbye too, right? Like,
but and that's what it all. And it made me think about what you were saying earlier. I remember years ago, a friend of mine told me, never let anybody ride your success. When saying that, it's like they see the end result. So it's not, okay, I want to ride along with you, but you wasn't there through the blood, sweat, and tears. You wasn't there when I'm up on it. You wasn't there where I didn't get one like, I didn't get one share, I didn't get one comment, I didn't get no views. Yeah. And like you said, when people see the numbers, they know you. When they see the numbers rolling up, all of a sudden, oh, I've been down with you since day one. No, you wasn't. Like you said, you just see the numbers rising, so you feel like, okay, if I connect with you, that means they gonna follow me because they follow you, and that's what people look at. And nowadays, they look at it. People don't even want to get their numbers up no more on social media. You got people who do this stuff now. You pay them, and they check your numbers up for you instead of just putting the blood, sweat, and tears.
And it just launched the other day. You can buy a blue verified check now on everything. You can like $15, and you can buy a blue check, and now you're Before that used to mean something. It means you worked hard to get to about 10,000, and then I think outside of that you had to have like X amount of like publications or press or something that they could find you, and that's what would validate you. Now everyone can buy a blue check. It's 15. I forget what the stat was, how much money Twitter and Instagram made from selling, and it's just like, that's crazy.
And then the thing about it is, they hadn't even put in the work. They ain't put in the work. It's like the blood, sweat, and tears. You've been doing the thing for years. You grow, elevate, evolve, and and then also what it is too, is that they're making it more convenient for everybody now. So it's like, what was about all the hard-working people? And then on TikTok, they don't make you go live like on the Instagram or Facebook or whatever. You have to work. Like you got to get like up to 1,000 followers for you to even go live on TikTok. So that means TikTok will make you work to get your content up in order to go live on TikTok. They're not gonna just give it to you like that.
So it's interesting. So like when you see some of a lot of these scammers, right? Like I don't know if you get as much of the scam emails. It's like, yo, like I like your music, and they pose as like a radio celebrity or a radio host or something like that. Or like I get emails from labels, right? And they're like, yo, we listen to your music, pay us this money. There's people that do fall for that because it's easy to sell people their dreams, right? And that's what that blue verified check is, and why. So Gav says it made over 600 million or something like that, right, a month. But like they're selling people these dreams of being verified, of being a celebrity, of being someone that they're not. There's no shortcuts. Like if you take these shortcuts, the only person you're shorting is yourself, right? Like if you want to jack up your streams on Spotify. Now there's a two-part of this because I've talked about this too. Is there is a lot of artists out there that don't actually realize or know, because again, these companies have sold them their dream, but they think that they're doing what's called playlisting, and so they're like, yo, no, my numbers are like that because I'm on playlists. It's like, yeah, but those playlists are being run by bots and it's not real people, and they don't even know because they're so delusional in their own dream, which is okay, but you need to have an understanding. And it's just, I got scammed when I was younger. when I was doing my snowboard thing, I was trying to buy a video camera, and I wanted a video camera so bad so I could film these and it was off eBay, and it got scammed. And it was one of the biggest learning lessons to me of, if it's too good to be true, it probably is, right? And those are words. So like I've had artists that I want to work with, like people that I look up to, add me on Facebook, and I'm like, nah, they got hacked, or that's a fake one. And then I messaged them. I was like, yo, is this you? And they're like, yeah. And I was like, oh, okay, really? Like I come from such a place, like a defensive place now, where I just think everyone's trying to scam. And it's just like, I could have missed out. I might have missed out on opportunities because like, I just don't, I feel like I need to work harder and do more for someone, and I just don't trust anything. I'm like, no, I haven't worked enough, right? So.
Right, and and that do make sense because so much stuff going on with hackers and all this other stuff, catfishing people, but that comes from people just being lazy. Like I said, man, such, and you gotta realize you got fake celebrities out there too, because you have people who will make these fake pages of a celebrity. When they inbox you, you actually think that's them, but it's not them. But then they'll come and say, "Well, I'll do this, but I'll ask for this certain amount of money." That's pretty much really fake. But like you said, they say you a dream. Like, oh man, such just reached out to me, and then they charge me such amount of dollars, but you never met. Why would they charge you? And they just need you.
Yeah.
A lot of times,
I feel like they sell you the end, not they sell you the end, and not the journey. And I think that's where people fall short, because it's like easy to see $1 million dream but to keep you in the possibility instead of a probability. Whereas probability, you got to deal with what you got. And I think people definitely shy away from that hard work. Oh, I got to call him. I got to go meet him. But that's the journey. That's where you meet who you got to meet. You learn all the people that's going to support you and not. And why cut yourself short on that journey?
Yeah. And I know you mentioned earlier, Daquan, about the internship. Internship was a big thing. Do they still do internship now? Do they still do it? Is it still going on? Internship?
They still do internships. Yeah.
Because I know back then people was hungry, especially if they want to be successful. They would hit the streets. I remember they would go, if a label was having a concert, the intern would take the posters and just put posters out, flyers, get in people's face, the advertisement, just put in the work. And that was something they loved to do because they know it was going to pay off one day.
Mm-hmm.
You need to bring that back. You know what I'm saying? That needs to come back. Like some of these younger people, the millennials that they call them, they don't know anything about work. And I see they complain too much. Why this got to take? Why I got to go like this? That's the process. It's designed that way. It's not going. If it happened overnight, then you got to watch yourself. Because it ain't real. It ain't real. But you're not gonna get rich overnight. It takes time. And like I said, I know they look at people on Instagram and Facebook, like, look at all these millions of followers. You gotta realize they start where me and you was at. In the mailroom. But you have to be inspired.
Yeah.
Some people just not inspired. They just like I don't say the word inspired, but they're just not like, I really want to do this. But you have to be hungry. That's so.
It doesn't have drive. Yeah. It's just like the lack of drive. And I mean, also, you could tie it into that, like, also, like, the generation, how it's like soccer teams, there's no more trophies. Everyone got a trophy, right?
Right.
It's society on a whole changing. And I mean, I don't know what to fully say about it. Yeah, I mean, I know there is a part of the generation that doesn't want to work. I know, like, hey, even where I'm at, right? So in my graphic design stuff, and I have years of skills, I have portfolio and stuff. I mean, I've gotten offered internships as well, but I mean, let's say this was a few years ago. I'm 35. Rent now on my apartment is $1,500. Like, doing an internship, unfortunately, like as much as like I want to put in the work, and I'm like, just I need to at least pay rent, right? Like, not everyone has the opportunity to live in their parents' basements or whatever, right? I think that's a weird thing. Like, you look at Italian families and things like that. Like, they stay with each other until they're like, they're ready to get married. But I find a lot of North American families, it's like, oh, you're 18, all right, you're out, right? And then we're fending for ourselves. So, I mean, that's an interesting change as well, but it all goes in waves. I mean, and again, it comes down to, the strong will survive and push through. So, I mean, for me, if people want to be lazy because you're just allowing me to shine through because I'm going to work twice as hard. So if you want to be lazy, you go ahead and be lazy because I'm going to pick up that slack and then people are going to, tune into my music and I'm okay with that.
I know, right? Because I was listening to an old interview that Dr. Dre did some years ago on YouTube, and that's when the word was going around about the Detox album. But Dre, he criticized his own work where he said, well, he didn't like the sound, the artist didn't do such right. So after he was at an award show with him and his wife. After the award show, he said he was going right back to work. It wasn't I'm doing the award show, I'm chilling for the night. He said he was going right back to work. He had to go do this, and do that. But I love that because I respect Dr. Dre work ethic. Eminem, 50 Cent. I know they call it the three-headed monster because of the work they put in. If you don't want to work, I want to be around you basically. And if you're not if you're not willing to give your life for this, then you're not ready. Some people say they ready, but they're not really ready. They're like persecution. You don't know what real persecution is until you really go through it. People think persecution is I'm sick, or they call that persecution. I got sick, or I had a breakup, or I lost a job. But you ain't really go through no real persecution when you're really serious about this thing. So if you're serious about it, not just in music, anything you do, you got to be serious. That's why I applaud people who in school. Especially, I see a lot of some young people who work full-time jobs and still go to school, and I respect them for that because make excuse. I can't do that. I'm tired, but once again, it's how bad as you want. It's just like if you're in the middle of the ocean, you fighting to stay alive. You're not just gonna sit there and sink because something's gonna kick in where hey, I gotta survive. So we gotta have that urgency in our life. Okay, I don't want to struggle. I don't want to go from paycheck to paycheck. So I need to get off my ass and I need to start doing something instead of why me, why them, why this ain't happen to me, why they so successful, why they so because they did the old-fashioned way. They just went the way.
That's it. I mean, and in the new stuff too. I mean, I know and I'm sure you see this, and you see this as well. Is like we see the old heads, right? I mean, we're old heads, but like. They're like, oh, I don't want to go on TikTok. I don't want to. That's a young man saying, I don't want to, blah, blah, blah. And they criticize all these new things. The thing is, the only constant is change, right?
Right.
And so, I mean, I'll admit, like, I even, like, say Instagram Reels. I prefer Instagram over TikTok myself. But there's a certain type of content, and I fought it for so long because, like, I like being the producer behind the scenes. Sure, I'll take some photos. Sure, I'll do some interview. But I don't want to be that guy who's sitting on my beat pad being like, hey, yo, check, I don't necessarily want to be that guy. Or they're like, yo, I'm in a park driving a car, sampling, Looney Tunes. And then it's like this crazy thing, right? And it's like that. Like you're just doing that because you want to go viral. And I fought and resisted that for so long. But at some point, how bad you want it and how much are you willing to give up of what your own stuff to get what you want, right? So like I started doing some of those remix, the duet videos, right? And it's just me in front of my computer here and I'm like, just pointing up, I'm like, remix this. And in my head, I'm like, this is stupid. But I want this so bad that I'm willing to sacrifice it and I'm willing to sit here and bob my head to my beat and put it out there. And now I'm going to put my spin on it and I'm going to try and make it look as dope as I can and make it feel, more natural to me than just being like, I hate doing this. Because if I'm just like scowling, then people are going to pick up on that energy. like I did one where I'm eating a bowl of cereal, listening to a beat, right? That's not me. I just want to make dope, dark, grimy beats, but I want to do it so bad and be able to live off it that I'm willing to sacrifice some of that and allow myself to be a little bit more vulnerable and do things like that, right? I never wanted to be like a model, right? But
Right.
I'm setting up my phone on a tripod, taking photos of me, like, and then posting it and like with some caption. And the reason why I do that is because people like it, right? And so if people are liking it, increasing my engagement, and it's growing and building my brand, then that's what I'm gonna do. So I always joke that there's me, which is Nate Butcher, that's like my real person, and then Imperative is Venom, and it takes over, and Venom is like the symbiote, and so there's like these two people. There's the Nate Butcher, and then sorry, I'm looking at Gav's comment. He's throwing me off there.
Man, but pyramids is like man, it's just like so much stuff. It's just like the work, pictures. We talk. Matter of fact, when I was taking pictures today, and people don't understand that too. Pictures say a lot. People love professional pictures. Selfies is cool, but if you really try to get into them doors, you gotta take professional pictures, because that's the first thing they ask you for. If you go audition for something, they always ask for headshots, but they want professional pictures. And that's nothing I'm talking about. Putting your money, investing in you. Some people don't want to spend money. It takes money to do these things. It's not free. They probably want freebies. It's like they want freebies, but they're not want to put in the money. I tell anybody, if you working, I work. I do 8 hours, 16-hour shifts as my job. But when I do 16, that's overtime for me, of course. I do doubles. Take that overtime money that you're doing, take that overtime money and invest in what you want to do. Invest in you, because that's what you're doing it for. But if you want the best, I'm just saying, you're gonna have to spend the money. I'm sorry. If you want to go to school to be a doctor, you gotta go. You gotta pay money to be a doctor. I mean, it's not free. Some people look for freebies. I know, once again, social media once again got people thinking I just put stuff out there for free, and that's it. But if you really want the best product, it's like, you hear me? If they want the best beat, I'm just gonna say it. They need to pay the money for it. Don't say I want a beat, but then when it comes time to pay, I ain't got it. But you want to go spend money on. I like Jordans. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
You'll take you. Pay them. They don't have the money to pay you for the beat, but then you look at them. They pose with some new Jordans, and they pay $225 for it. But then when it comes to the beat, well, I ain't got it. It's too expensive, man. I can't do that. Nah, if you ain't serious about it.
It's like this. Oh, you want a free beat? Here, let me play that free beat for you. You hear that? That's that free beat for you there.
But what's funny is what you said, about just being able to put the work in. You got to be able to come outside the box, because I'm a testament to that. If Furman to tell you, man, it wasn't Furman, I would not be here just talking on the camera as comfortable as I am. I had glasses when I first started, because I thought I was gonna be in the back, because I love the phone. You put me on the phone, it's magic. But I'm like, they like, you gotta get live, you gotta come on video. I'm sitting here dreading it. I'm real photophobic and videophobic, so it's like, do I really want it? And so from time to time, I was building myself up. Furman getting me on the show was my first real start stepping in front of that camera. And then it started, going to small little lives and stuff like that. I still don't, be out often, but it is a start to say, hey, if you are going to go out and get your dream, chase your dream, you do have to come out that comfortable zone you in, get a little uncomfortable. Because there's always a place to get comfortable back after that. Things come in cycles. You get uncomfortable, comfortable. And there's a settling time for that. So I have to be on camera more, even though I don't like it. But I'm finding that, hey, people actually care to watch. So, you're definitely right on that.
And then, because people are always watching you, even though you may not see them, but they always watching. The views go up, people always watching because you never know who you are inspiring. You never know who you are motivated to come out your chair like you did the one. And somebody, oh man, I see how he was wearing shades and he don't have the shades on no more. And he's being more talkative now. That inspires somebody else too because you're not alone. And that's what it's all about. And it's just about loving you. Like I tell you, believe in you, love you. And that's something that we have forgot about. We're doing it now. It's like that self-love, knowing that you worth $1 billion. You walk knowing that I don't give opportunity. You are the opportunity.
Yeah.
Instead of saying set the standard, you are the standard. That's the kind of mindset we have to have. I know when Pyramid wants to be the baddest producer around, but that's his mindset, and I respect that because some people don't believe in themselves like that. But like, you gotta know you the baddest thing walking around the planet, and you very untouchable. You know what I'm saying? And then whether you may like it or don't like it, I'm still the baddest thing. That just because your opinion don't define who I am. You still the man. You still this. You still that.
Yeah.
And that's the beautiful thing about life. And believe in your crowd. Believe what you're doing. The money gonna come looking for you. Because people always look for something to invest in, right? If they see the quality, they see the productivity. Oh man, I get behind this project. What do you think investors do? Investors get it behind something they see worth investing in too. If you don't have anything to invest, man, people not gonna get behind you because they're gonna say, okay, you're not serious.
I'm reading, and it's kind of outside my scope of music. Man, not saying I don't listen to it, but like I'm reading the Gucci Mane book, and honestly, it's a good read for anyone, like not even necessarily in music. It was like I was reading a couple pages every day, and it was like a motivational book. And he says is like you gotta want it so bad, like you gotta be delusional that you're already there, right? And that's kind of like the mentality I try and attack this from. Kanye is another one. Now, not his new antics and all that stuff. No, but like I have a big Kanye painting here. Kanye is one of my idols. Now, people get this twisted. It's not necessarily Kanye as the person or even necessarily as the artist. It's this idea of Kanye. Because for me coming up, it was like when there was actually floating around a bit. It was like this motivational thing. They took quotes of things Kanye said, right, and they put it over like an orchestra, a choir of music. It sounds very inspirational, which it is, right? And that was the mentality I took. It was like anything I want to do, I can do. And that was actually, it was something that was instilled in me by my parents as well. But like watching someone like Kanye, is anything he says he's going to do, he's going to do it. He said he was going to run for president. He did that, right? And he's everything he said. And so it's that mentality that I needed to implement in myself. And that's why like I hold him in high regard because of that, because I know that I should be and I'm capable of producing for guys like that, even at that high level. You got to dream above, like hit the ceiling, and then above that, like you got to go, right? And that's where I'm at right now. And it's just dream more, dream bigger, dream further. This in some of it, and Daquan, maybe this is a piece of advice for you too on doing some of this stuff, is like one of the things in a lot of the stuff I do for music, and that is it's almost like it's like an out-of-body experience. It's like there's Nate back here controlling imperative here, and it's like I'm like a sim to myself. But like we look through these eyes, and it's like it's a movie, right? But it's the movie that we create. So if you want to be a rock star, if you want to be a rapper, if you want to be a hip hop producer, if you want to be a media mogul, right? You know what I mean? Project that and be that every single day. Now, you can't just be like, I'm a rock star and not put in the work. The work comes with that, right? So it all kind of ties into manifestation, but it's like, I can dress how I want to dress, right? Like I got a Griselda hoodie on, and I got my own merch. Like I got a ring, a little bit of jewelry. So I'm projecting who I want to be as a hip hop producer. You know what I mean? Now this is my image. I don't have tons of chains and stuff like that. I want to be low key, but like I'm projecting. It's a costume. Everything's a costume, and we're all chameleons, and we're in control of this movie that we're living, right? So when you start thinking about it in that sense, is like this. I can do whatever, and if you think about it, is like everything matters, but nothing matters at the same time. You can go ask that hot girl in the club for her number, and she's gonna say no. Well, what? Sure, you feel rejected. You can go ask one the next night, and she might say yes, right? So it's really like, sure, she said no, and you feel a tiny bit of rejection, but how did that really affect you? Does that mean that every girl from now on, out of the billions of females in the world, are always gonna say no? No. So if you want to talk to that girl, go talk to that girl. If you want that job, go for that job. But you got to put in the work too.
You got to. And then, because it goes back to that belief in yourself. You have to believe in yourself. If you don't believe in yourself, you're not going to accomplish anything. It's like I said, you want that, like you mentioned that, if you want that job, go get that job, put in the work. And I learned this too. When you go to a job interview, people think it's all about your degrees and all that stuff. That's cool, but how you really get into the door, and I learned this, you go, when you meet with whoever you meet with, you look around the office and you see the stuff they got going on, and you get their attention like that. You may say, oh, I see you into fishing. I'm like, okay, fishing is cool. That gets them that's how you get into the door. You start building rapport with people. That's how you start building relationships with people. And that's how, and let's go ahead, Aaron. Go ahead. You good?
Oh, I wasn't saying anything. I might have just been glitching or something like that.
Oh, yeah, because that's what it's all about. And I had learned that.
Yeah.
You selling yourself. When you go to an interview or you go to that girl, you present yourself, you're selling yourself. You're showing something different. Hey, I'm showing you something different because I'm showing you something that you never witnessed before. I'm going to show you something that you never experienced before. And I'm going to give you that experience that you may never get again. Mm-hmm. But that's what it comes with territory. And you being different and standing out. And I know you mentioned about the rejection part. That what kills a lot of people. People hate to hear no. But does that no define you who you are? Just because and you're not going to get everything, true enough. But that does not define you who you are. A snake's going to be a snake. A lion's still going to be a lion. A zebra's still going to be a zebra. A hyena's still going to be a
zebra too.
So that it don't change. That does not define who they are. The lion going to still be a lion. Still going to be the king of the jungle regardless. So it don't change. But what it is, when we hear no, they're like, it crushes our world. So it's like, we become, like you mentioned, bitter. So you thinking all women are the same now. Oh, she told me no. Oh, she gonna tell me no. Guys get so caught up in girls on social media, Instagram models, they call them. And then they listen to what these girls say. And I learned this too. A lot of them, they say that stuff because some guys come up being goofy, thirsty, just doing some crazy stuff. But it's all about mental. You talk to a woman, it's mental with her. And then when you get her mentally, you got her. It's not about, I want to get between your legs. No.
Yeah.
And then when you talk to a girl, I don't want to talk about this or not, but when you talk to a woman, she already know off the bat, okay, you just want to have sex. Some of them do. But you show, hey, it's not about that. I just want to get to know you. I want to get to know your character, and that's what it's all about. And then she like, I ain't never met a guy like that. A lot of guys just want to get in bed. No, I want to know you, who you are, and all the other good stuff. So it's just like,
and if we're talking about putting in work, right? I don't know if you've ever heard of, but there's a book called The Game, and it basically is a book on how to hit on women, and it was like, and I read it because I was interested just because people had talked about it, and I read it. But it allowed guys that maybe were not, they were swinging out of their league and they were hitting those home runs. And why? They put in the work, right? And so it's something as much as that. And what you were talking about with the jobs as well, and the interviews, straight up, the job I have right now, I'm a digital marketing specialist for a magazine. I do not have a formal education in digital marketing. I don't have, I've gotten some certificates in that afterwards. I have a diploma in multimedia design. So there is some aspects there, but I went into that meeting and I was just like, I used my own Instagram, my own brand, the release of a record I did that I sold, that had Benny the Butcher on it. And I sold X amount of vinyl and I just used that. I just held my head up high and I was like, oh, digital marketing. Well, I do this, and then and just you got to project yourself, and that confidence, and it's that's what means more than anything, right? And and now the generation we're talking about, they're gonna have it so much easier. I've seen the Chat GPT, the AI. There's like you can generate that, like it will guess like the questions for that job role, so you can study. And so those will be like, what questions do I need to know? And like things are just getting easier for people. And still,
it really is, and it's like people pay the way to make it more easy. Like I mentioned about the confidence.
Yeah.
Look at them in the eye. Don't be looking down. Don't be looking this place. Don't be looking over. Look them straight dead in the eye. Have a firm handshake. Stand up straight. Don't be slouched over. They used to tell all that stuff growing up. You know what I'm saying? And it still work today. When you walk into a room, you command that presence in that room. You set the atmosphere. No matter where you go, whether it's on your job, your place of business, in your own home, you set the atmosphere because you believe in yourself. And when you walk into a place, you command their attention. Like I walked in the room and bitch out to Cody Davis. You know, when I first met him at a branding and marketing class, this is a young man. He's in his early 20s. But the way he carries himself like he's in his 30s.
Right.
Because of the maturity. When he walked in, firm handshake. He introduced himself. He looked at people straight in the eye. He didn't like look this way, look down. And that's what you have to do. But when you walk in with your head held up high, look at people straight in the eye, firm handshake. Oh, okay, I respect this individual. But if you talking real low, looking down, they're not gonna really respect you like that. They're like, okay, this individual don't believe in himself.
They're gonna dismiss you. Yeah. And that same energy, it all comes down to energy too. And people don't want to talk like they don't want to talk about this aspect, but it's legitimate energy. Like energy's all around us. And I'm not trying to be like spiritual and stones and shit like that. But like we're literally around energy, right? So if you walk in and you're like boisterous and you are, you're firm handshake and you're commanding the room, you're putting off an energy, and people are receptive to that energy and they're gonna, pay back in kind, right? Like that's why if you walk into a room like that, you're standing up straight and you just walk in with that confidence, people turn their heads, because they'll turn their heads even like they don't even necessarily see you, but they can feel your energy coming, and then they turn their heads, right? Like that's a legitimate thing. You can walk in and like they haven't even looked at you, but they can feel the energy coming in, and they're like, oh, okay. And then, so the energy is a real thing, and you gotta own your energy and learn how to harness it and be that's a big part of becoming who and what you want to be.
Yeah, and it's about confidence. And a woman loves a confident man. To her, that's sexy. A man that walks upright. He take care of himself. He walks with authority. He has integrity. Women love that. Not just women, but people love that. People can flock to that and say, oh man, that's a leader. I could learn from that. Inspire me to be that. And you speaking, it's like when you go order food, you go right and tell them what you want. If you go to McDonald's, you're going to go, hey, I want to get this, I want to get that. That's what you want. And when it comes to people in Pyramid One, it's like we get scared to tell people what we want. Now, we go order what we want at the restaurant. We don't get into all these other conversations. But when it comes to people, we walk around with eggshells. But we never go tell them what we want. I really want to say this, but then it comes with that judgment, like, if I say this, they gonna tell me no or cuss me out. But what all they can say is yay or nay.
Yeah, I mean, we're all products of our environment, and I like to say, like, even who I am today is a product of everything I've been through in my my life. I wouldn't be who I was without everything I've been through. Like I said, like I was thrown in. I've accidentally done a lot of sales jobs throughout my life and my career. I've sold life insurance. I've sold cars. I sold snowboards. I sold skateboards. Sales is it's a job where you have to talk to people. It's like the person walks in the door, you gotta be like, hey, what's up? And I'm grateful for that, because that's allowed me to come out of my shell to be like, it's like, if you want to sell this, you have to talk to that person. And if you don't talk to them, you're not gonna, right? So it's like the person walks in the door, and it allowed me to really get out of my shell, because I'd start saying shit that was out of pocket, right? Like when I was working at the snowboard store, we'd have like people come in and they don't know shit about it, but like I'm in my zone, and I'm like, I'm the confident snowboard guy, and I'm like, oh yeah, this one here's got the loft control. That's not a thing. Like loft control is not a thing, but I could just throw things that don't even exist into the conversation to be funny for me to make, and they're like, okay, this sounds great, right? But inside my head, I'm like, I just sold them some shit that, like, I would sell them the right product, but I would just throw in words and shit that doesn't mean anything. And it was just more of a thing for myself to see how I could do it. And it just allowed me to kind of come out of my shell and be that confident and overconfident in talking to people and speaking out loud and saying whatever's on my mind.
Yeah, and that's it. I want to talk about this. Holding yourself accountable, putting the pressure on yourself to become excellent. People think such thing as excellent. Excellent is a part of it. You be your own biggest critic in song, because we all have it. We should have our own mental game room. Say mental game room. If you play sports, you're an athlete. After the game, the next day, whenever you practice again, what they do, they show game footage. They show you what you did wrong, what you did right, but they really zone in on what you did wrong, and they wanted to repeat that. And that's something we should have in our own life. Okay, we should go back into our mental game room. Okay, how I should have said it. I should never say it. I should never approach that. Okay, I gotta make sure. And we always should critique ourselves, because we always want to get better at what we are in life, because we constantly got to evolve. So that's an awesome thing to, go to a mental game room. Look what I did wrong. Look what I did right. Make sure I don't do this again. Just really just putting that expectation on ourselves, because we put expectation on everything else. Why not put expectation on ourselves? Because we are our own biggest fan. We should be.
Should be. There's the Kanye line. He's like, if you ain't a fan of my music, you ain't a fan of yourself, right? And that's the same sort of mentality. And he's saying that because he's so confident, that if you're a fan of his music, you're going to be confident, so confident in yourself. And again, that just kind of ties back into why I kind of hold that image in high regard, right? So.
And that's what's up. So, the Coin, you have anything you want to ask?
I actually do. I don't know if this is the right way to ask this question, but where do you, for your sound and your music and things that you produce, where do you, outside of the social medias, again, kind of bringing it back to that intern realm, where do you see, or where do you want your sound to be at?
My sound.
I'm saying that right.
Yeah. So my sound is. So I've been doing this for a long time. I've been doing this for over 10 years. I started with an artist, THOUGHTS and stuff, and that was a lot of learning curve. And then once he stopped rapping, this is just a kind of leading up here, but once he stopped rapping, I had to kind of fend for myself. It was just me as a producer. I didn't have that producer rapper that I was. So then along came Junk, and then he got some beats, but then I was in the studio with him, and I got introduced to the engineer Jamie Cuse, which is who I use now. And he's one of the top engineers in Canada. And so when I first came out with my first project, Full Circle, is I could have paid, and we're coming down to the money thing that we're talking about again, and investing in yourself, is I could have paid someone a lot less money to mix and master. I could have mixed and mastered it myself, but I knew that I wanted to have the highest quality grimy music that I possibly could, right? So I was willing to pay him to take my sound there. So where I'm trying to go with my sound is, I really want to keep, like, I like this pocket I'm in right now, but there are times that I feel pigeonholed a little bit, because it's almost like people are expecting this sound from me. I was in a bit of a slump for a bit. I've been listening to samples, and like I could hear stuff that I want to work, that I'm like, oh, that's a beat. I could hear that being a beat. But for my sound, if I don't want to work on it, the way I take it is like, it's not my sound. right? If I can't hear the beat in my head start to finish, then that's not my sound. So because I was in this slump, I was like, you know what? I got to get out of my element, and I just want to create. And right now, I'm listening to samples. I'm not finding anything, and I'm getting frustrated. So I started working on a beat that was a little bit out of my, it's not out of my grand scope, but it was just a little bit out of my realm for currently. And it was a little bit more trap heavy, like 808s, trap hats. And I made the beat start to finish, and it came out fire, and it was dope. And that allowed me to push through that beat slump. But right now, I'm content making what I'm making, but I may not. I would like to, again, I talk about Kanye. I look at his journey as well. It's like, I would like to make some hit records. You know what I mean? Like to have that opportunity to have, like right now, I'm really catering to a subgenre of hip hop, and there's a great cult following, which is really dope, and I love that idea. Guys like MF Doom, guys like Griselda, they have this cult following. But I would like an opportunity, and I think I could knock it out of the park to be able to make hit records like My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy or something along those lines. Be able to work with guys like the Kendricks, the J. Coles, guys like that. I think I have 100% the capability of doing that. So am I just going to sit here and make grimy boom bap beats all time for the rest of my life? For now, yes. But at some point, I'd like to branch out. You can't stifle creativity, and if you do the same thing for too long, it gets monotonous, becomes work. It becomes, Now I love it. Don't get me wrong. Like one of the things I love the most about this music and making hip hop music is it is every genre of music. And when I say that, like especially the boom bap is like on my record shelf there's soul records, there's prog rock records, there's classic rock, there's classical, you know what I mean? And when you're using all those samples, that really means hip hop and rap is every genre of music amalgamated. So what I love more than anything is sitting here and zoning out and just listening to music. So I don't know if I answered your question correctly, but where I love what I'm doing, and I'm going to be here for a while, and I don't think I'll ever leave it, because this is, like I said, this is the same sound I started making back in 2010, but then I had to change my sound. Now I'm kind of back, and I'm sure there will be another growth or evolution and pivot at some point as well. Yeah.
Well, you know that because sound is always changing, and I want to talk about this on the pyramid. Let's talk about time. How important is time to you?
Shit. Time isn't real. If we want to get that, but at the same time, it's like time is important. I run on a high level of stress and anxiety all the time, and I think it helps me in a way. But like I was up at 6 a.m. this morning, at work for 8, worked until 4, went to my dad's, ate dinner, did laundry. Back here, I was going to go to the gym, but then I was like, I can't go to the gym. I made a beat, then I'm on here, right? It's like, I find the older I get, time is fleeting. Like me and my homie THOUGHTS, that's who I started this hip hop shit with. And we're like, time flies. Like, you know what I mean? Like we started doing shows in 2013, and that was, you know what I mean? Like that was 10 years ago. Like we did like our first show. And that it feels like yesterday, but it's like that was a decade, right? And when you start, 10 years is a decade, right? And it's just like,
right.
Like it even like from putting out Full Circle, which was 2020, that was 3 years ago, and that feels like forever ago. So time is important, and that's why I think I like literally every waking second. If I'm not at work or doing that, which I do that job so I can do this right here.
Right.
I do that job so I can do this and push on this. But when I'm home, I'm like listening to music, to listen to samples. It's like I'm nonstop working. When I'm driving to work, I'm listening to hip hop to see what's new, what sort of sound is there. When I'm home, I'm listening to samples. And so time, we only have so much of it, and I'm trying to fill every single minute and pocket that I possibly can. Like my eyes twitching right now because I'm so tired, but I'm still gonna put my time in and work. So time is important, and things like, where we used to go party and drink on the weekends and that, but then I'm too old now, and I feel shitty the next week, and then I'm eating shitty. I'm out of my habits, and then I'm not working on the music the way that I should, and you're losing that time, right, to push forward. And in this industry, particular music and production, it's like, it's not just making music. Making music is the easy part. But then it's the reaching out, the networking, the business side, the grants. You got to make sure you're getting your royalties. You got to upload your music. You got to get your art. You got to manage all the artists that you're working with. Yo, where's this verse? You got this done? Oh, I need a singer. Trying to get your music in film. Trying to get, you know what I mean? Like there's so much into it that you can't waste a minute. You don't have a minute to spare. And that's why, like I mentioned earlier, I'm not in Cabo right now with my friends. I'm here because this is important, and I appreciate this conversation with you gentlemen and giving me an opportunity to speak this, right? And after this, I'll probably make another beat, and then I'll crash.
I know, right? Because it don't stop. It don't stop at all. It's not no time to it. I know open and close. Like I said, they say we got 24 hours within the day. I know part of we sleep, which you don't really sleep 8 hours for real. They say 8 hours, but who really sleep 8 hours? We don't sleep 8 hours, but
I'm on a 6 or less like pattern right now, which is why my eyes.
Yeah, God think who sleep? They say they sleep 4 hours. Somebody said they only sleep for 4 hours. It's
probably that Goggins guy. You know that Dave Goggins? He's like he was on a bunch of podcasts, and he's like, he had a hard life, and he's like a military trained Navy SEAL, and he's up by the time we're waking up, the three of us, the combined, but he's already ran like a marathon.
Yeah, because they believe that if you they believe that you're supposed to wake up before the sun come up. Mm-hmm. They say if you wake up and the sun is already up, you late. To the average person, they just like on the weekend. Everybody says, I'm tired, I'm sleeping in late on the weekend. But them people that don't have anything going for themselves, they lack vision. They lack where they want to go. You got some people who just want to live for the weekend. Them days over with. It's like now, like you said earlier, I want to eat off this thing. I want this thing to take care of me and my children in the long run, that the legacy's still going. And that's the mindset. Look at the Jeff Bezos and the Elon Musk. And all right, Elon Musk work ethic. He got that hardcore work ethic. He was telling his employees, hey, I'm gonna need this, gonna have to do this, you gotta let your family know, hey, we're gonna be doing this, doing that. But he gave them off the man way. If this ain't for you, then okay, I can let you go, do what you gotta do, whatever. But for everybody else that wants to be here and make this thing successful, let's come in, put vacation to the side, put all this stuff to the side. I'm not to the point now. I care less about vacation. I care less about going out. I'm trying to get this podcast going where it need to be, where I could benefit off of. I work full time.
Yeah.
Where I get to benefit off of, and I know the coin me others as well, that you have to put in the work. You have to come with quality product, creative content. You got to make sure your speaking is on point, your questions on point, and you're not wasting anybody's time. I got the book 80-20, and 80-20 says, put yourself in the shoes of the customer. Do you want your time wasted?
Yeah.
So you have to think like that. I don't want to waste nobody's time when we do these shows. We don't want to waste the people's time. So we got to make sure we put the best shows on, have the best guests on the show that, okay, what they said, okay, I can relate to that. Instead of just, because people doing podcast, anybody do a podcast now, let's be real.
Yeah.
Some of them just be don't be talking about nothing. But the thing about it, I just want to do something that it could be beneficial, that people can learn from. They can go back and listen to it again. They can download it. That's what I believe in. I believe in being the best work possible. And I'm a student of the game. We all students of the game. We should be, because we constantly got to learn, no matter where we go.
Yeah. I mean, this was a quote specifically for music and hip hop and that, but it ties into exactly what you're saying as well. Is these days, everyone is a hip hop artist. Everyone is a producer, right? It's saturated. How many podcasts are there out there, right?
Oh, it's millions.
So there's all those people that are just those things, but how many people know the business, right? Mm-hmm. And it's the ones that know the business and go outside and like you said, anyone can start a podcast, anyone can be a beat maker, but not as many people know the business. And it's those ones, like in the music realm, I don't know the podcast, like the heads like you may, but like guys like Kato, you know what I mean? If you look at Kato's, like he is a student of the game and he learned like Instagram, and he worked hard. Like guys like DJ Payne one, a lot of these guys, you know what I mean? It's like I can be a hip hop producer, but like I know the business too, and I think that's what's helping elevate. And it sounds like, you know, you said you have your background in marketing from it, so I mean that shows that you're learning the business, and that's not just, you know, accounting and dollar sign, because business means more than that. That means branding, that means marketing, that means advertising. Business is a bigger word than just dollars and cents. Business is a business.
Yeah, it is, and you got to put in the work. You know what I'm saying? Mentoring. Find your mentor, somebody that's qualified to be a mentor, and get with them. They could keep it real with you, pinpoint with you in order you become the best. Because we can't do it by ourselves. It's people that already paved the way that you want to get to where they at. It's like, you know what? I'm gonna sit down. I'm gonna humble myself and learn from them. I'm gonna go talk to them. You know, ask questions, man. You know what? I think we talk about this on the show. People run from relationships. You hear people say all the time, I'm an introvert. Why you gotta be an introvert? I heard somebody say, I'm an introvert, I'm an entrepreneur, but I'm an introvert. How did that work?
Yeah.
Everything comes with relationships. You talk to people. Let me tell you something, man, it's millionaires, billionaires. They love giving their wisdom. They love giving their wealth of knowledge to people who's hungry and willing to take it. All you gotta do is open your mouth and don't be scared. Ask questions. Like Kobe. In order for Kobe to get best, Michael Jordan said Kobe's called him all the time. He said Kobe's called him all in the middle of the night, asking questions. How I need to do that show how bad you really want it when you call these people up and you constantly emailing them, hey, I want to learn this. I need to do that. They say, okay, you know what? This dude ready. This dude really hungry.
Yeah. I remember the story of Pop Smoke. 50 Cent tells the story of Pop Smoke. The first time those two met, 50 Cent was almost going to get mad at him because he looked over and Pop Smoke was on his phone. And he was like, yo, like, what are you doing? And he found out Pop Smoke was typing everything 50 Cent was saying on his phone because, and now rest in peace to Pop Smoke, but like, you know, he just knew, like, I'm in the presence of 50 Cent, who really went from nothing and built an empire now, right? And so he was literally writing notes of everything he was saying. And I mean, that I'm taking mental notes all the time. Like even right now, you know, like there's something I can learn from each of you, and there's stuff that you can learn from me, right? So you always got to keep your ears open for those gems and those pieces that you can take away.
You got to. And I know you mentioned about working out to the gym. How important is your nutrition? I know you being a producer, you being up, we know being healthy does play a major role. So how do you handle your nutrition?
I mean, it's more important now, and it's more so just because I'm old.
Right.
And it's just like, I mean, I mentioned I came from a snowboard background, a skateboard background. Like, I did not treat my body well. Like, I have a metal plate in my face. I was in a motorcycle accident. I have a bad shoulder. I broke my arm skateboarding and so on. So like me sitting here and you know, we know that the producer stand, right? You know, like it's that video game, right? Like you're like, so if I'm sitting here producing that and like, it's not necessarily the healthiest of things. So now my health is definitely more important to me, but it's also, there was a time where I let my health go. And it was because I just felt I didn't have time to leave here because I needed to do, but now I need to do everything, right? And I had no time for anything else. But now I'm finding I'm in a place where I'm comfortable with what I have and where my trajectory of what I'm doing, that I need to take that hour every day. Elliptical is the main thing, and cardio, and just like, that also allows me to have those chicken wings on the weekend, allows me to have that beer. Like, you know, I'm not trying to be like, you know, male fitness model, right? I just want to, everything in moderation, right? Like, and so like my body doesn't have the metabolism it used to when I was snowboarding, playing all those things. So, but I want to live life. I want to eat the foods that I want to eat. So again, if that's the way I want to live, then I gotta everything in balance, right? And, it's ironic that you did say, you mentioned the zebra. You said Libra because I am a Libra. And so there's that energy. So like Libra is very balance based. I have a scale on my tattooed on my arm, and so it's like if I want to eat those chicken wings, then I got to work out, right? And if it's like if everything in balance.
Yeah, and that's important, And then in pyramids, like people gotta wait to be a celebrity to have a schedule. You don't have to be a celebrity to have a schedule. You can start right now.
Yeah.
You are a celebrity. You your own CEO. You don't have to be a celeb to say I gotta have a schedule, this, that. You can start right where you at. Put your schedule. On our phone, you got a Google Calendar on your phone. I don't know how many people got it. Should got it. Start organizing your day. That's my learning problem. I don't organize my day. Okay, I want to do this at a certain time. And I got to get back in the gym myself. I've been lacking. I got to get back in the gym myself because being healthy is important. Like I said, I'm older too. So take your health seriously. Not only that, your mental. And now that you be more creative too. When you're in shape and your head is clear, you be more creative. So when you're working out a period, that helps you out too as well with creativity because your head is clear and in shape. So it's like how do the creative flow go with that as well?
And if you're like if you start losing some weight and you feel good about yourself, like not even lose, like you're feeling good about it. You look in the mirror and you're like, yeah, I can see that the gym is working. You stand up a little bit taller, right? And that adds to what we were talking about when you walk into the room with confidence. So if you're like, you've been working out and you're feeling good about that, you're going to walk in the room a little bit more. Your voice is going to be a little bit more, stronger in that. It's like when you buy that new t-shirt and you walk in and you're like, yo, I got a new t-shirt on. Well, if you buy that new t-shirt and you've been going to the gym for a few weeks and you're feeling good, then you're going to walk into the room with that confidence that we talked about earlier, right? All of these things, it's all these small things that build up, but it's all positive things, right? It's the not drinking, it's all those positive small things that they add up and build into this character where you're standing up, your head straight, and it's all the small things that lead up to that, right? You can't just be like, I'm going to be confident tomorrow. I mean, you can, but there's other factors in there, right? Everything is part of it.
Right. And then it's the mental thing, mindset, breaking that mindset, renewing the mind, meditation. That's important. Just breaking away from the negativity, the murmuring, complaining. Mentor comes to play. Have your mentor. Just develop all this stuff. Work on you. And it's within. A lot of you do this stuff for you. You don't do it to impress people. I know a lot of time people do now. Well, in order for me to get the people, I got to look a certain. No, if you want the body, do it for you. You want the money, do it for you.
Yeah.
You want the nice car, the nice house, do it for you. Don't do it to get people. They just say you do it, but you don't get the people you want. You just gonna stop it. But you do this stuff because that's what you want. You do it for everything. Start with you. You are the CEO. You are the superstar. You are the Hall of Fame. You the legend. It starts with you first.
Yeah.
Look at James Bond. James Bond is everybody know who James Bond is. Confident, swagger. He don't make it about a woman. He about his business. But the women love him. You know what I'm saying? Because it's his swagger. You know what I'm saying? You got the same swagger yourself. You just have to believe in yourself. And it takes time because it's not overnight, but it does take time in order to get to that level.
Yeah, I mean, if you say the idiom, build it and they will come. If you build yourself, they will come. The women, the people, you build it, they will come. Like because people will be drawn to that energy because they can feel like it's building over there.
Right. That's it. Then Chubb, you about your business. So the woman want to be with you. She willing to get pregnant by you because she want a part of you. Because you got a lot going on, so she want part of that too. But we got I know we had a great time here on the show. I know you got some stuff you got to do. Don't want to hold you up. But go ahead and plug in your social media. How can they get in contact with you? How can they follow you? Go ahead.
It's pretty easy. If you can get over how weird my name is spelled, but it's IMPERETIV. That's across all social media. Branding wise, it's got an apostrophe in there. It's all social media. It's IMPERETIV. I got a track dropping tomorrow night at midnight Eastern time. Track's called Every Bullet with an artist from Montreal, Slick Jack. And then next week, I got the animated video for Under the Scope with Rick Hyde and Betty the Butcher. That's going to be dropping on my YouTube channel. You can go turn on the notifications now. That's the two most current things. I'm dropping something pretty much every 2 weeks in terms of music. So stay tuned. Instagram is the primary. You're going to see all the new releases. Make sure you turn on notifications. I appreciate anyone that tuned in, tapped in. I see the homies Jay Roberts and Gavin. This is hip hop. I've got my Instagram live going here. I see my homies THOUGHTS. He tapped in for a minute. He's one of the guys out in Cabo right now that I can't be there. That's who I came up in hip hop. So much love to THOUGHTS. Thanks to everyone that tapped in. Much love to you both as well. Thank you for having me.
And we appreciate you, Pyramid, as well. Like I said, man, y'all have a great night. We're going to be back here. I'll be back here Saturday morning at 10 a.m. Saturday morning with a very special guest. He's the writer and producer of the movie The Forbidden Daughter. He did it here in Dallas. He's going to be on the show Saturday morning at 10 a.m. You don't want to miss that. If you're interested in learning about writing movies or plays, hey, I guess he's the man for us. So if you're interested in learning to write movies, get acting, you know what I'm saying? So plug in Saturday morning. Tap in, you know what I'm saying? Utilize your gift. I noticed since I moved here to Dallas, I'm doing more pictures than ever. So I'm having fun taking pictures, professional pictures at that. So big shout out to Corey Davis and his team. Matter of fact, we're getting a website done soon. So big shout out to Corey Davis' team for the website coming soon from Walking His Ways. So I'm excited about that. So people can go to our website, watch the shows, maybe download the shows as well. We're gonna put our online store up there also. So we got a lot of work going on here in Walking His Ways Impact Wars podcast. You gotta invest, people. You gotta invest your time. You're gonna have to invest your resources, and you have to invest your money. I'm telling you, it's well worth it. And a lot of people say, I can't afford. Yes, you can afford. You afford anything you want to afford. You're just gonna have to get off your lazy butt and get another job. If you ain't making money on right now, you need to do something about that. Or you need to cut some things off that you really don't need. But if you really want to make it, man, I tell anybody, work some overtime. Not just overtime. Find little side gigs to do. If you come back then, especially with people that was in college, they used to do side jobs just to pay for the education. That's how bad they want it.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta have it. You gotta. Nobody's not gonna give you nothing for free. And if it is for free, it ain't good. And then you have to owe them for it, but pay for it. I'm like this. I'm hearing like with a website. I mean, I can do it, but I rather pay somebody else to do it. But that's already equipped to do that.
Yes.
So I had to give them the money to do that because I want the best. You know, that's another thing too. Stop being cheap, folks. Stop trying to do everything yourself. You can't do it yourself. You're gonna have to invest some money and pay somebody to do it. Trust me, it's gonna benefit you in the long run.
Pay someone to do it. And there's also new tools being developed, and especially right now, we're in a generation, or we're in a period right now where we're seeing some of the most technological advances in such short periods of time. You know, it's such a controversial topic, but with AI and that, you know, I've started using it for certain things. I use ChatGPT to help me with some like copy, and it has cut down, you know, my time on writing things, right? You know, even for yourself. I mean, there's AI out there now. There's the AI podcast where you can drop your podcast in after, and it makes it sound like you're in a studio. It just cleans it up, and it's just boom, done. And I think it's free right now. There's also another one, which I got to look into myself, because we said time is money, right? Like time is of the essence. We only have so much time. So if some of these things can help us and give us more time to do what we actually do, right? Then if that's a benefit. But there's like an AI app out there now that you can plug in this video and it will spit out 12 short content versions of it so that you can upload to social media later. Okay. Otherwise, I know you know this. You're taking this video and you're manually doing it. And think about how much time that takes. If you have apps that are going to help you do that. Now, obviously, there's some gray areas there, especially in my realm in music, right? Like, you know, they have all the AI voices and stuff like that. With everything, there's negative, but there's also positive. So for us as creators, if we can find the positive and find the things that are going to help us save time to do what we want to do and you know, be successful, then I'm all for that.
Oh, yeah, most definitely. You said AI, right? AI?
Artificial intelligence, yeah.
Okay, cool. Matter of fact, I just pulled that up. So
I'll send you the links too.
Yeah, do that. Yeah, do that. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I appreciate that. Do that. We can say the poem. I thought the poem says
that information too.
Yeah, and like I said, man, that's what's up right there. Man, we gotta get off this air. Man, y'all have a great night. Y'all enjoy your Wednesday. Get to work, ladies and gentlemen. Get to work, and we're gonna be back here Saturday morning here on Walking This Way, the Impact West podcast. Man, y'all have a great night. We'll see you Saturday morning here at 10 a.m. on Walking This Way, the Impact West podcast. Have a great night, everybody. Peace.
Lune. Money works. El mundo quiere dinero.